If you've ever felt something watching you from beneath the floor, this story will stay with you. Welcome back to Whispers in the Shadows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's waiting underground. I had been clean for 8 months and 11 days when I first saw the house. It sat like a carcass at the edge of a forgotten road, ribs of gray wood jutting out beneath a sagging roof. The kind of place the forest tries to take back, slowly, patiently, like it knew you wouldn't be leaving. They called it a fixer-upper. In reality, it was a probation deal wrapped in rotting timber. I'd signed the paperwork 2 towns over, with the sweat still drying on my palms and a social worker eyeing me like a dog fresh out of a fighting ring.
3 months of paid work, room included.
She'd said.
You finish it, you stay clean, we talk about real jobs.
I nodded. What else was I going to do? Go back to Boone County and see who was still alive? The drive up was long. The kind of lonely that gets inside your teeth. No cell service. No gas stations past mile marker 22. Just hills, woods, and the occasional hand-painted sign about Jesus or deer season. By the time I turned down the gravel path, the sun was already dipping, and I'd forgotten what music sounded like. The house was waiting. It looked older than the pictures. More collapsed, porch boards like broken teeth. A window hanging loose by one hinge, curtain fluttering like a signal, but the key worked, and I stepped inside. The air was stale. Cold, but not fresh. The kind of cold that doesn't move. Dust hung in shafts of orange light, settling on piles of warped floorboards and dead insects. I stood there for a while, not sure what hit harder, the silence, or the smell of something that hadn't been alive for years. I dropped my duffel in what passed for a living room. There was a fireplace, a busted armchair, and an old mirror with a crack like a spider web crawling across it. Someone had left behind a Bible and a crow feather wedged between the pages. The first night, I slept on a cot with my coat as a pillow. I dreamed of water, not drowning exactly. More like sinking, slow and warm, and far below me, voices not shouting. Just talking, like they didn't know I was there, or maybe they did. I chalked it up to nerves. Detox brain still throwing sparks, but the next morning, when I went outside, there were footprints in the mud beneath the kitchen window, bare feet, small ones. That same day, an old man showed up around noon. I'd been hammering loose shingles back onto the roof when I saw him, standing at the edge of the tree line like he'd grown there. Plaid shirt, long white beard, chewing something, didn't wave. Just stared. I climbed down slow.
Can I help you?
He didn't answer. He looked past me, at the house, eyes narrowing like he smelled something. Then he said,
You open it yet?
Open what? I asked.
The ditch.
He muttered, like it was obvious.
Underneath.
I stared at him. He just spat in the dirt and started walking away. That night, I found the trapdoor in the back pantry beneath a dusty shelf, iron nails across the edges. Not recent ones. Hand-forged. Black with rust, the floorboards around it were a little warped, like something had pressed up from underneath. I didn't touch it, not that night, but I didn't sleep either. The wind outside sounded like whispering, and more than once, I thought I heard it again, that calm murmur, like a group of people talking behind a wall, just out of reach. The next day, I found the journal. It was in a false panel behind the fireplace, wrapped in oiled canvas, yellowed pages, tight cursive, the name Captain Elijah Wren written on the inside cover. Most of it was dull stuff, supply counts, weather notes, chicken scratches about troop movements. But the last few entries were different, paranoid, talking about the line under the floor. He wrote that he heard voices, that they were choosing, and then.
They took Jonas last night. He said he heard them calling his name from the trench. I warned him not to answer. He answered anyway.
That was the final entry. No date. Just ink that ended in a jagged smear. I put the journal down, and suddenly the house felt smaller, like it had leaned closer. The wind picked up outside, and the trapdoor creaked, not open, but loud enough that I knew it had moved. I told myself it was just age, just wood settling, but when I passed by it that night, I swear I felt warmth rising from the cracks, and underneath, someone exhaling. I didn't touch the trapdoor for a week. I worked. I kept my head down, fixed up what I could, patched leaks, replaced beams. Every night, I told myself I was earning something back, like if I made the house whole, I could do the same for myself. But that door was always in the corner of my eye, like it was waiting for me to blink. By the end of the second week, I'd stopped sleeping. I could lie there for hours, flat on my cot, eyes wide open in the dark, listening. Because the house made sounds. There was something about how they moved, not aimless, not random, like footsteps, sometimes shifting weight, scrapes, like someone dragging a hand across the underside of the floorboards. But the worst was the talking. I couldn't make out the words. They were too soft, too many, like a crowd whispering behind a curtain, always just below me, always just before I lost consciousness. I started hearing my name. Not loud, not yelled, just slipped in, look, like someone testing how it sounded in their mouth. The morning after that, I opened the trapdoor. It wasn't locked anymore. The nails were gone. No splinters. No pry marks, just a thin iron ring and hinges that turned like butter. It opened onto black. I held my breath and dropped a flashlight in. It thudded against dirt maybe 6 feet down, then rolled and stopped. The beam cut across stone walls, wet earth, something like broken crates. There was a ditch down there, 10 feet wide, 5 feet deep, running from one side of the foundation to the other like a forgotten scar. And the smell of wet iron, mold, old sweat, and older rot. I should have closed the door, but I climbed down. The bottom was cold and uneven, pockmarked like something had scraped through the clay over and over. I found bones, not human, I told myself, long, thin, but gnawed. I found buttons, Civil War buttons, a rusted bayonet, a child's shoe, and a spot in the center where the dirt was freshly turned. That was when I heard it, clear as a bell, a voice behind me, not whispering anymore, speaking.
Not him.
I spun, hard in my throat. Nobody there. The flashlight flickered once, and I heard them again closer now.
He's not ready. He's not worthy. Let him build. Let him believe.
I climbed out of that pit like my life depended on it, because maybe it did. The trapdoor slammed shut on its own. I sat on top of it until morning, arms around my knees, shaking like I'd come down off something I didn't even take. After that, things got worse. It wasn't just the house anymore. Outside, the trees moved wrong, even on still days, like something large was passing behind them, just out of sight. Birds stopped coming, no bugs, no tracks, just silence. Even the wind seemed to avoid the house. The old man came back. This time, I saw him standing on the porch, middle of the night, not knocking, just looking through the window. I grabbed the crowbar, opened the door. But he was already gone. Only thing left was a muddy footprint, bare, smaller than mine. That night, I dreamed I was underground, knees in the clay, surrounded by a circle of figures, faces hidden, voices layered.
One must always feed the ditch. It keeps what it's given.
When I woke up, the journal was on my chest. I hadn't touched it in days. It was open to a page I hadn't read. I feel them judging me. Every lie, every theft, every drink, they know what I deserve. They wait until I believe I'm clean, then they come for me. I stopped working on the house. I sat on the porch and smoked. I listened to the floor beneath me groan like something stirring. I talked to myself, because that was better than listening to them. Then the lights started flickering. And the whispers grew louder, no longer hiding in the dark, speaking over each other, arguing.
He's close. He wants it. He's weak.
And then,
he's ready.
It rained that morning, one of those Appalachian downpours that turns the sky to lead. The house moaned with every gust. Rainwater dripped through the eaves like the whole place was weeping. And still, I heard them. Louder now, not whispers, not murmurs, voices with shape, tone, purpose. They said my name like they were laying a claim.
Luke.
The trapdoor was open. I don't remember doing it. The flashlight was waiting at the edge, still on, still warm. I looked down. The ditch had changed. It was deeper now, wider, as if the earth had breathed in. I climbed down, not because I wanted to, because I had to. The dirt was wet but not muddy, packed tight, like something had pressed it down from below. The center of the ditch was bare, no bones, no buttons, just a single wooden stool. On it sat a figure. Not old, not young, skin the color of dry paper, eyes closed, hands folded neatly over a rotted book. It looked like a man, but something about it was off, like it was pretending. Then it opened its eyes. They were mine.
You've worked hard,
It said.
but you've lied to yourself.
Its voice was flat, not cruel, not kind, just final.
You built the house. You fixed the beams, but you didn't fix what brought you here.
I didn't respond. I couldn't.
We are the ones who remember.
It continued.
We remember what you try to forget.
It stood. I backed away, tripped, fell.
You can leave.
It said.
But you'll take us with you.
Behind it, the walls of the ditch shifted. Shapes formed in the clay. Hands. Faces, mouths pressed to soil. They whispered again.
Don't run, stay, one must always stay.
The figure knelt beside me. Its breath smelled like rot and memory.
Choose.
It whispered.
Stay and forget. Or leave and remember.
I asked what that meant. It smiled.
If you stay, we take the guilt. We take the ache. We bury it deep. You'll be clean, Luke, clean and hollow.
I asked what happens if I leave.
Then the whispers come with you. They will speak through your walls. Your friends. Your dreams. You will know what you are. What you did.
It held out its hand. I didn't take it. I ran. I climbed out of that ditch like hell was behind me, because it was. I didn't stop, didn't grab my bag, didn't lock the door, didn't look back. I drove until the gas tank had empty, slept in the car on the shoulder of a nameless road. I made it back to town the next day. The sky was blue, the birds were singing. But I wasn't alone. They came with me. At night, I hear them in the vents, in the silence between songs, in the clink of glass at the bottom of an empty bottle. They don't ask anymore, they remind.
You're not done, you never were.
I thought I could run from the ditch. But the ditch runs through me. It's been 4 months since I left that house, the mountains far behind me, but the whispers came along for the ride. At first, I thought they'd fade, just echoes of withdrawal, residual noise in a brain still fogged by years of damage. But no, they stayed, and they started to change. They don't just speak to me now, they speak through me. I've lost time, minutes, hours, whole evenings swallowed by that same dull voice I heard in the ditch, except now it uses my mouth. I've woken up standing in the shower, fully clothed. I've found cryptic words written in the condensation on my windows. I've walked past mirrors and seen something that looked like me, but was a second too slow to follow. It's like something's trying me on, seeing if I'll fit. I tried going to meetings again, sitting in the circle, sharing stories, telling myself I was still human. But the others noticed. One guy pulled me aside after a session.
You don't blink much.
He said,
And sometimes, when you talk, your mouth moves wrong.
I told him I was tired. He didn't believe me. I haven't been back. The whispers aren't just mine anymore. They seep. My neighbor's dog won't stop barking when I pass. The lights in my apartment flicker when I enter the room. Old friends text to ask if I'm okay, and then stop replying altogether. Sometimes I think about going back to the ditch, back to the stool, back to the deal. What was the exact phrasing? Stay and forget. Or leave and remember. I left, I remembered, and now I'm not sure I was the only one who did. One night last week, I was sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall. Hours had passed. I didn't remember sitting down. Then I saw it. In the corner of my ceiling, where the plaster had started to flake, there was soil. Dry, red Appalachian dirt. And something was moving behind it. I don't sleep much anymore. I hear the whispers more clearly the longer I stay awake. And now they've changed again. They don't call me by name, they call me caretaker. I started digging in the basement last night. Couldn't help it. The floor was too flat, too clean. I found something hard about 2 feet down. It wasn't rock, it was wood. A slat, a board, like the top of a box. I haven't opened it yet, but I know what's inside. Not bones, not bodies. Just the next voice in line. I'm not sure if this story has an ending, not yet. But I know what's coming. A knock on the door, a whisper behind the drywall, a face in the reflection that doesn't want to leave. They said one must always stay. Maybe I stayed after all. If the whispers followed you home, would you choose to forget or remember? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're still listening, you've already been chosen.